wondering when this was going to hit. Not sure how long it's been raining since I've been inside, but it's about 1:45 now, settling down for lunch, and it's kind of pouring outside. And tomorrow is actually likely to be the same way when I'm in Greenfield Village. Oh boy. Chicken salad baguette sandwich, mac and cheese, lemon iced tea. That's all I need. Here's an exhibit called Fully Furnished. Old style kitchen sink. This is supposed to represent an early 1930s middle-class American kitchen. Have the fold-down ironing board. Table for two. Stove and oven. Kitchen cabinet with the built-in sifter. Gonna do a lot of baking in here. And the ice box, refrigerator. Typical kitchen from circa 1890, from a typical rural area, possibly Midwest. Hand pump for water into the sink. This is the way the kitchen in our farmhouse in Minnesota was before they modernized it. Had a water cistern just outside that the water actually got pumped into. Then the small pump in the kitchen pumped it from there into the sink. And then it just ran out the side when you drained it out into the yard. I think I'm going in the wrong direction. Kitchen circa 1840, middle-class kitchen, possibly from an eastern town or village. No sink at all, just an area to put pots and pitchers in. Lots of manual labor tools and a fireplace. And circa 1700s middle-class kitchen from northeastern United States. Heating stoves. Well, let's see. Try to identify these from here. So that's a dining room radiator from around 1900. And that tall one's a dumb or radiator stove from 1850. This guy's a Temple parlor stove from 1854. This is a parlor stove from 1844. Magnolia airtight parlor stove from 1854. North Star parlor stove from 1876. Floral parlor stove from 1855. Parlor stove from 1843. And parlor stove from 1845. Now going over here, That's a soapstone stove from about 1860. 10-plate stove from about 1800. 10-plate stove from 1767. 6-plate stove from 1829. This is a box stove from 1865. A shaker stove from about 1830. A Perfection smokeless oil heater from 1920. And that's a parlor stove from about 1845. A Detroit electric heater from about 1910. A cottage airtight parlor stove from patented at 1847. A parlor dome oil heater from 1892. A box stove from 1848. And then finally an Art Garland parlor stove from 1890. And of course, and this is a Partio barbecue cart. This belonged to Dwight Eisenhower and used at his Palm Springs, California home. A kiosk from the IBM Pavilion in 1964 New York World's Fair. There's a lot of stuff here that I'm not going to take the time to describe in great detail, but you've got a armchair from the 1970s, a coconut chair from 1955, coffee table, a 1934 Gilbert Road desk, a library table from the early 1900s, a slant front desk and chair from the early 1900s, and a Morris chair from the early 1900s. These things are all from the mid-1800s and from the early 1800s. This is from the late 1700s, 1790s mostly. All that noise on the roof. I wonder if it's really coming down or something. This stuff is from the early 1700s. Nice exhibit. Lounge bed, lounge chairs, day beds, lazy boy, early lazy boy. It's a ladies' work table from early 1800s. A tete-a-tete from late 1800s. A lot of armchairs and things from the mid 1700s to the early 1800s. Wonder how you're supposed to see what you're doing with those high drawers. This is a baby jumper and rocking chair from about 1900. And a Capelli stool, chair in a box from 1940, plywood chair. Made with just sawing, no molding. Folding screen. Side chair from 1860. And an Eames LCW lounge chair. Wood is what it stands for. And this is just part of the museum. It's not a display item. Bunch of Eames office furniture. When I started working for my current employer in the mid 1980s, they had chairs that were quite a lot like that blue one. Not exactly, but very much like it. We referred to them as the Jetsons chairs, and they promoted slouching. Hitchcock chair. Applied early mass production techniques to turn out these innovative chairs by the thousands. Windsor rocking chair. A writing arm Windsor chair. A brace back Windsor chair. A ladder back side chair. This is just fancy showing off furniture. This stuff is all from the 1600s here. And finally, on the far left, we get things from the mid 1700s. Drop leaf dining table, card table, a light stand, couple of light stands up there. Drop leaf dining table, bunch of drop leaf tables, and a pedestal end table. A phonograph from about 1919. Sewing machine from the mid 1800s. And sewing machine from the mid 1900s. Heating stove from the late 1800s. And that's an RCA Radiola 60 receiver in cabinet. And this guy here is a Predicta television receiver from about 1858. And that one's a television receiver from 1949. Child's rocking chairs, high chairs, late 1800s, early 1900s. Child's desk up there. A high chest of drawers, dressing table from the 1700s. a platform rocker from Turkish parlor set. Various armchairs and rocking chairs, mostly dating from the mid-1700s. So this is the furniture with a past exhibit here, or this gallery within the exhibit, or however it goes. This is a actual desk from the U.S. House of Representatives, 1857, and the associated chair. This card table belonged to John Hancock in 1737 to 1793. And a cupboard made for Hannah Barnard. That's a great chair that belonged to Peter Schuyler, or Schuyler, a Dutch trader and fur trader, landowner. This is a rocking chair that belonged to Cornelius Vanderbilt. Guess I should have zoomed out there. A portable writing desk owned by Edgar Allan Poe. A drop leaf dining table that belonged to Mark Twain, and a portrait of Mark Twain. That chair there belonged to Abraham Lincoln, and the table belonged to Abraham Lincoln. And this secretary desk was owned by the Adler family of Frankfurt, Germany. With the rise of the Nazi regime in the 1930s, their home was ransacked. Everything the family owned was thrown into a courtyard, including this desk. With great effort, the Adlers managed to leave Germany for America in 1939. With no money and only a few possessions, somehow they were able to take this desk, which they repaired. The cherished heirloom became a reminder of the family, the life they left behind. These are all supposed to be examples of exceptionally nice furniture, very expensive. And I was lamenting that they seem to have got rid of their musical instrument exhibits. They used to have a pretty nice exhibit of old musical instruments. On my last visit, they seem to have almost completely got rid of it. Henry Ford played the violin, and these are his violins. This is by Niccolo Amati, and this is a Stradivarius that he owned. It's the Rougemont. This is another Stradivarius, the Siberian. This is a Nicola Gagliano. Oops, aiming in the wrong direction. Vagnozzi. And this is a Guarneri. What is that, Landolfi? I don't know my violins. Ask me about tuba manufacturers. So we have some tapestries here, or some woven coverlets. Some woodworking machine tools. A Daniels planer from 1870. You could take a piece of wood like that and turn it into one like that. This is a band saw without the blade. It's kind of odd that they would leave the blade off of a band saw. Just doesn't look right. But it dates from 1868. This is a hub mortising machine from 1885. Drills holes and then cuts the mortises, which are square holes. And it's intended for putting the mortises into hubs of wooden wheels. Like these. So you've got the drill there, and then the mortise chisel. And this is a re-tenoning machine from 1885. It was used to finish the tenons used on the wheel spokes before they were driven into the hub. A belt sander from about 1885, minus the belt. There's more of the planer. This is a rifling machine. We put the rifling in rifle barrels. A wood copying lathe from about 1865. It's a Blanchard design. And a screw slotting machine. You had to hand feed screws into all those little holes. As the center wheels turn, they carry the screws past 6 small round saw blades. The rotating blades cut the slots in the screw heads, and the finished screws then drop into the chutes. So all this machine did is put the slots in slot-headed screws. And this is a Foster's printing press, 1853. A domestic spinning jenny, about 1825. A Courier shoe shop, circa 1890. So these are actually precision tools for making watches. This is a lathe from about 1892. And let's see. This is a pinion cutter from 1892. And this here is an automatic screw machine from 1875. And that's a drill press from 1880. And that's a tiny milling machine. I think so. Do I have the right? Yeah, that's what that is. And this is a gear cutter from about 1895. Throstle machine, or throstle machine, 1835. A power loom from about 1900. This is a milling machine from 1895. An automatic screw machine from about 1895. Believe this is a side lever glass press. Molten glass is pressed into intricately engraved molds. An inexpensive and fast way to make decorative glassware. And believe that's a paper ruling machine and a job printing press for small print jobs, and an insulation braiding machine from 1885. And that's a brick making machine from 1865. And an electroplating dynamo from 1876. So that's a McCormick Reaper from about 1850. And a mowing machine, also by McCormick, from about 1880. A variety of manufactured items. It just says that's a child's bicycle from 1885, but it doesn't really give much contextual information. That's a high wheel bike, and it's a little bit big for a child. It's not full size, but you know, maybe for a kid of about 12 years old or so. But the information provided here is just about useless to understand its context. That's unfortunate. Makes you wonder if the curators don't know what they have, or if they're just dumbing it down, figuring that the visiting public doesn't care to know more about these things. Kind of disappointing. Okay.
Sorry.
That should be a Model T. Moldorama. Always got to have these machines. This is an Ingersoll milling machine, capable of undertaking highly accurate, multiple cutting operations on many components at the same time, which were crucial to the high production levels attained at the Highland Park factory of the Ford Motor Company. This dates from about 1912. This is a cylindrical grinder from 1900. This allowed high production cylindrical items like automobile crankshafts to be ground to completion from a rough forging. And then we have some clocks associated with mass production, like time clocks and industrial gongs, recording time clock. This is a discombobulated Model T, I think. Yeah, it's a Model T, 1908-ish. Axles, wheels, tires, springs, frame. Very simple frame. Engine, body, seats, roofs, drivetrain. Part of the large museum store, it looks like. Oh no, this is something else. This is Genius at Play. Not sure what that is. Looks like they're selling Legos and things like that. So this is sort of where we came in. The DC-3 is there, and the Heroes of the Sky, which is the first exhibit we went to. Now we have 4 different exhibits related to cars. I'm going to start back here. Did I identify this when we came in? I might have missed this. No, that's the flivver. I did see that. Okay, 1962 Mustang 1 Roadster. Some concept car models. Sometimes great design is well concealed. Compare the number of components and fasteners in these Cadillac bumpers, one from 1991 and the other from 1992. The radical reduction in part seams stems from the design. Engineers researching materials, evaluating production steps, refining processes, redesigning components. The engineering success hidden behind already styled bumpers improved safety and reduced costs. So here's the earlier one with all the parts took to put it together. Then the revised design only took that. I'm no longer a Ford man. I used to own a string of Tauruses, and I was always impressed by how everything fit together. Instead of, 4 screws to hold something on, it would go on with a couple of tabs and slots, and then 1 screw would keep it from sliding out of those. And it would work just as well, and it took a lot less time to put it together. And if you had to remove it for servicing, it was quicker. I always thought they were doing a good job of that, and wondered why nobody thought of it sooner. So this is a 1903 Ford Model A runabout. My face mask keeps slipping off my nose. 1905 Ford Model B touring car. 1908 Ford Model S Roadster. 1914 Ford Model T. That's a 1914 Ford Model T touring car. Can't forget the 2011 Ford Fusion stock car racer. A 1901 Ford Sweepstakes oval track racing car. This guy's not identified. (1930) Ford Model A touring car. (1932) Ford V8 Cabriolet. These are the other sides of the cars we've just walked past.
She texted her brothers. They're Paul should got. They probably
Okay. Up there is a 1949 Volkswagen sedan. This is a 1949 Ford sedan. Here's a 1943 Willys Overland Jeep runabout. And up there's a 1937 LaSalle Coupe. Ford V8 engine. (1924) Essex Coach sedan. 1924 Chrysler touring car. 1909 Ford Model T touring car. 1906 Ford Model N runabout. 1903 Holzman runabout. The farmer's new friend, maybe. 1906 Thomas Flyer touring car. A 1865 Roper steam carriage. An 1896 Ford quadricycle runabout. Up there is a 1896 Duryea runabout. 1901 Columbia Victoria. (1899) Locomobile runabout. 1903 Oldsmobile runabout. Very similar to the curved dash one that I rode on in Chicago a couple years back. I had to skip a section here because there were a bunch of people gathered in front of it. (1955) Chevy hardtop. 1960 Chevy Corvair sedan. (1966 Toyota Corona sedan. 1968 Mercury Cougar Coupe. 1973 Chrysler Newport sedan. 1978 Dodge Omni sedan. 1991 Ford Explorer sport utility vehicle. 1989 Honda Accord sedan. 1998 Dodge Ram quad cab pickup. And finally a 2002 Toyota Prius sedan. What's in a name? The importance of image. And logos. American Motors. Not a bad logo, but not as classy as most of the other ones, pretty much any of the other ones. Okay, Driving America exhibit. There's at least 4 car exhibits here, so we've gone through one of them. This is a 1932 Ford Roadster. (1949) Mercury convertible. 1906 Locomobile Old 16 Road Racer.
Breathless.
1967 Ford Mark IV sports car. (1903) Packard Model F runabout. A 1919 Ford Model T sedan. (1956 Ford Thunderbird convertible. Gilkey tent trailer from about 1927. And 1949 Airstream Trailwind. (1959 Volkswagen Westfalia camper, the first van camper. Typical tourist cabin from about 1936. Welcome relief from tent camping. Shane Lodging, motels. This is a transplanted Holiday Inn room from about 1965. Well, let's see. Let's do these. Well, let's do these first. This is a Chevrolet 1955 Corvette Roadster. (1957) DeSoto Fireflight hardtop. Here's the Corvette again. Okay, so a 2002 Segway, (1971) Honda CB750 motorcycle, (1896) Riker electric tricycle. It's only got the one wheel in the back, as you may have noticed, with very clunky electric motor sticking out the side. This is a 1907 white Model G steam touring car. A 1916 Woods dual power hybrid coupe. a 1980 commuter car electric runabout. (1997) General Motors EV1 electric coupe. (1963) Chrysler gas turbine sedan. Texaco Fire Chief gasoline pumps from around 1940. Typical Texaco service station from about 1940 with the garage on the side. Unfortunately, there's not much to see in there at the moment. Okay, let's see here. I think we'll hit this area out here first. So, a Conoco gasoline filling station. Just a real small cashier's building. Various kinds of children's car seats. (1957) Cornell Liberty safety car, the safest car in the world. Wraparound bumpers, energy absorbing. Head restraints, adjustable headrests, front and nylon webbing rear protect against whiplash. Accordion doors provide easy access to interior. Deadbolt locks keep the doors closed and passenger inside during a crash. Rear-facing passenger seat provides back and head support for child or small adult during head-on crash. Bucket seats. Center driver's seat. Driver's in the center. Away from crash contact points. Front seat passenger restraints. Steering handles instead of a steering wheel. Panoramic windshield. This is Dwight Eisenhower's 1950 Lincoln bubble top. And Franklin Roosevelt's 1939 Lincoln Sunshine Special. Okay, back to this gallery here. A couple more presidential cars we have to remember to see on the way out. (1984) Plymouth Voyager minivan. This is a 1939 Dodge Airflow tank truck. The 1950 Plymouth Deluxe Suburban station wagon. This is a 1918 Overland Model 90B touring car. Okay. 1981 Checker Marathon taxi cab. '1904 Packard Model L touring car. And a 2008 Brompton M3L folding bicycle. And a Back Alley Bikes rebuilt bicycle. So that's the folding bicycle, the Brompton. And there's the Back Alley Bikes rebuilt bicycle. This is Teddy Roosevelt's Brougham 1902-ish. So now we're over in the railroad area. This is a reproduction of the 1931 DeWitt Clinton, which was the one of the earliest successful designs for an actual passenger railroad that could actually be used. Kind of look like old stagecoach bodies, don't they? But on steel wheels. Luggage up on the top. Seats for God knows who. Passengers who didn't pay as much, maybe. I'm not sure how this worked. If the guys who paid more got the ones at the backs, and the guys who paid less had to straddle the ones in the middle, or maybe those are just footrests for the people in the middle. I'm not sure. Doesn't say. This is I think a reproduction of the famous Rocket steam locomotive. This is a replica of the 1829 Stephenson Rocket. The original Rocket is in the Science Museum in London. This is the 1858 Rogers. The last time this locomotive was run was to transport the presidential party to the museum opening in 1929. Sam Hill. What in the Sam Hill? Bangor and Aroostook. Presidential coach, apparently. This is a 1923 Canadian Pacific snowplow. And a 1909 Baldwin drag consolidation locomotive. I can't get far enough away to get a decent picture of it. It's so typical of train museums, they just have them jammed in too close to each other. Okay. 1931 Duesenberg Model J convertible Victoria. 1931 Bugatti Type 41 Royale convertible. That's a beautiful car. (1937) Cord 812 convertible. 1956 Continental Mark II sedan. 1936 Lincoln Zephyr sedan. 1899 Duryea Trap. One of the most graceful early autos. (1908) Stevens Duryea Model U limousine. This is a 1983 Honda Accord LX sedan. As they say, is small the same as cheap? For decades, most Americans thought small cars were cheap and should be cheap. In the 1980s, the Honda Accord challenged that attitude. It was similar in price to the Chevrolet Impala, which was 3 feet longer and twice the horsepower. But the Honda was well built and reliable and included extras like air conditioning, cruise control, a cassette tape player, and a rear window defroster. Sales steadily increased. The 1913 Scripps Booth Rocket cycle car prototype. (1951 Crosley Hotshot Roadster. 1952 Federal 45M truck tractor. This is a 1975 FMC motorhome. This particular FMC motorhome is one of 3 that Charles Kuralt used to do his On the Road show for 27 years. Carried the 3-man TV crew on America's back roads, where they took time to meet people, listen to yarns, and feel the seasons change. Modified the interior, creating secure storage for the equipment and film. They never stayed overnight in the motorhome that served as a rolling studio. It's a 1900 electric truck. It's a 1974 Ford C700 truck. And a 1906 Rapid bus. (1927) Bluebird school bus. I think they still make school buses, don't they? Let's see, I don't think we got this guy yet. (1934) DeSoto airflow sedan. (1914) Detroit Electric Model 47 Brougham. What Henry Ford's wife drove. (1958) Edsel Citation hardtop. Got to get that Edsel grill. I don't know if they have a roof leak or what here. 1948 Tucker 48. Oh, it's a Tucker. How about that? So there's more views of the 1948 Tucker 48. We already got the Duesenberg. It's a doozy. It's a 1965 Lotus Ford oval track racing race car. A 2016 Ford GT. This is a 1792 to 1802 Chariot made by William Ross. Excuse me. Very large locomotive, 1941 Allegheny locomotive. Among the largest and most powerful steam locomotives ever built. Used during World War II. I'm not sure how this compares to the big boy. I don't think it's quite as big. Isn't the big boy 4 drivers in 2 sets? I don't remember.
While the fireman sat on the left. The fireman did not shout or call. No, you will be able to keep up with the Alleghenies at the height of the air. Instead, the operators.
Alright, so I looked it up. And the Chesapeake and Ohio's Lima-built 2666, which I think is the same as the 1941 Allegheny, at least according to the online Trains magazine page I'm looking at, says that it's very comparable to the big boy. This one's a 2666, or is that right? Yeah, 2 in the front, then 6, then 6, then 6 back here. But these back ones aren't drive wheels. And the Union Pacific big boy had a 4884. So the big boy had a few more wheels. But this was actually a heavier, more powerful locomotive than the big boy in some ways. But there's distinctions like what type of fuel they were supposed to use. The big boy was supposed to use a lower quality fuel. If it had used the same fuel as this one, then it would have been more powerful, and the big boy used a less efficient design compared to this one. This was maybe the more advanced locomotive. There's a bunch of distinctions. I didn't read the whole article, but anyway, it's a very large locomotive for sure. Nice to see it here. This is the clockwork exhibit, using various methods for telling the time. Sundials, hourglasses, carriage watch or coach clocks. Wealthy travelers might have carried these portable striking clocks to tell time at night. Lantern clocks. English bracket clock. Various table clocks. And a typical clock escapement. Or not just the escapement, but a typical clock motor. And an English tall clock. An assortment of American tall clocks. And the engine for a tower clock, including the weight and the pendulum. And then, I don't know if it's this shaft or what, but there's an electric motor? Maybe that winds it? Beats me. Anyway. I've kind of deviated from the cars. Massachusetts shelf clocks, banjo clocks, New Hampshire mirror clocks. That's kind of cute. Wood movement clocks. More tower clock mechanisms. Another tall clock. Pillar and scroll shelf clocks. Brass movement clocks. Eli Terry's clocks. Figured out how to mass produce 30-hour wooden clock movements using interchangeable parts. And the Willard family clockmakers. Synchronous electric clocks. Still probably the best clocks you can buy, as long as you can plug them in. Simple, reliable, keep excellent time. Basically never need to set them. Probably my favorite type of clock. Unfortunately, I only own a couple of them. And this is Kennedy's 1961 Lincoln. This is the car he was shot in Dallas. Has the special running boards for the Secret Service with the handholds. and side running boards with grips along the side to hold on to. Really big wheels on it. Wonder what those are for. They almost look like lights. I think they are lights. This is Ronald Reagan's 1972 Lincoln. Sort of an updated version of the other one. Has the bumper style running board with the fold up hand grips. A little more elegant in some ways. It has the similar grippy places along the side. Maybe there's some little steps that fold out from here or something. Not sure. Okay, did I miss anything? I think I did. I think I missed this section right in front of us. Yeah. So this is a 1959 Cadillac Eldorado Biarritz convertible. I don't know how to pronounce that. 2016 General Motors first generation self-driving test vehicle sedan. An Abbott and Downing Concorde coach from 1891. For much of the 1800s, traveling long distances usually meant riding public coaches in stages. An elaborate network of routes connected cities and towns. After railroads became common in the mid-1800s, stagecoaches still carried people on the next leg of their journey, often from the railroad depot to another town or nearby hotel. This coach was used into the early 1900s. English saddle and bridle from about 1900. And up there is a Pope Columbia safety bicycle. Kind of hard to see where they jammed it up there. See, this is just typical of the poor level of curatorship evidenced in so many museums, even world-class museums. Just lazy or dumbed down to the point of being just wrong. As something of an expert on antique bicycles, the high-wheeled ordinary bicycles were tippy and hard to ride. Neither is at all true. There's nothing tippy or hard to ride about them. Gosh. Heavy. Awkward when not being ridden. Less safe, certainly. But tippy and hard to ride. Obviously written by somebody who has no idea what they're talking about. They do have a nice picture of somebody doing a header, though, on a high wheel. Which is one of the main reasons why they weren't as safe. This is a Jones horse-drawn streetcar from 1875. And a noise piano box buggy from about 1910. And a plastic horse. Let's see, I definitely got all of those. So now we have the A&W sign from about 1960, and a huge McDonald's sign from about 1960. A 1956 Chevrolet Bel Air convertible. And a 1951 Studebaker Champion Starlight Coupe. Looks like normally they might have that diner actually in operation here, but they don't now. Okay, that concludes, I think, everything they have in here. According to the map, I have hit everything. And it took me about 4.5 hours to just walk through it without really stopping and reading much of anything. Which is what my walkthrough videos of museums are all about, really. Just what the name implies. I walk through it, try to show most of what's in the museum, but without taking a lot of time, so that I can remember it later on, and so that other people can get a quick snapshot of what the museum looks like. If they're not able to travel, this might be as close as they get to seeing it. Oops, there's the Mathematica thing here. Guess we should stop here real quick. Now that place is nuts. This is where the museum store is. A lot of Marvel stuff in here. Bunch of Detroit stuff. Canned goods, which don't seem to have much to do with the museum.
Well, actually, no, I didn't.
Yeah, I don't think so. Nothing here. It's all the same kind of generic stuff that most gift stores have. A lot of kitschy local color stuff, but very little that would excite me. Well, it looks like it stopped raining. What if you could type on a keyboard and have words appear on a screen? It took Steve Wozniak and his engineering skills to make this simple process become a standard reality. No. A standard reality for people buying them for themselves, but hardly a standard reality that was new. They existed before that for industry. Another dumbing down of information that cheapens the experience. They could have put 1 or 2 extra words in there, it would have made it true. Very disappointing. Alright, coming out into the steaminess, and it's still trying to rain a little bit. The odd drop here and there. So it was a good visit. I'm glad I came. It is a great museum. A few quibbles about things they've pulled out that they used to have on display that I used to really like seeing. And some quibbles about the general cheapening of American museums, at least, by dumbing down the signage. But other than that, definitely worth a visit. Something of an American institution. Not as good as the Smithsonian, but still pretty darn good.